Sean Payton is heading into his first training camp as Broncos head coach. He's already shifted the culture inside the building. He set the tone right away when he arrived in February. But what will it mean come this fall? We are diving in, coming up next on Countdown to Camp. Hello, welcome into the studio. I am Phil Milani alongside the Hall of Famer, Steve Atwater. We'll hear from Eric Dalala and Sidney Jones in just a second. But Steve, we're talking about Sean Payton today. Anywhere you go around Denver, people are asking, hey, what's it like with Sean there? What's going to happen this season? Is the offense going to be fixed? Is he your number one reason for optimism right now, Steve?
I think so. I mean, just the knowledge that he has of the game, his memory. When you talk to him, he remembers everything. He can go back 20 years and bring up things, and Bill Parcells had a big influence on him. And the winning tradition that he brings with him, the 15 years as a head coach, we need some stability in this organization. I believe he brings that, and I think that gives Broncos country cause for some optimism.
There's a big difference with that head coaching spot when the guy's done it before. He's been there, done that. He's won a Super Bowl. You can feel that already during the offseason program.
Oh, 100%. Just, the way he communicates, the way he kind of commands the room when he talks and commands the field when he's talking to all the players. You see him and the players are kind of enamored by what he's saying. And I always say, I remember those times when Mike Shanahan would be out in front of the team talking, and those were nuggets that he was giving out. And that's the same thing that Sean Payton is doing. He's giving out nuggets, and I hope that all the guys are listening.
You see some similarities there then?
100%. 100%, yes.
All right. Well, you can see he's a proven leader here. 15 seasons he spent as the Saints head coach, 9 playoff berths, 7 division titles, 161 career wins, Steve. That's 6th among active coaches. And of course, he won the Super Bowl in 2009. He's been there, he's done that, and he's set the tone here with the Broncos. Let's go over to Sidney Jones and Eric Dalala. Guys, what does Sean Payton bring to the Broncos?
Well, Phil, you mentioned culture earlier. That's a word that's been used a lot this offseason. And like you mentioned, we felt that shift in culture here in the building the second that Sean Payton walked through those doors back in February. And a lot of people have asked him what that culture means, what building a positive culture here means. And he talks about, tending to his garden, having a recipe and what those ingredients include, having the right players in the building, paying attention to detail, having passion, having players and coaches who truly love the game of football and their jobs. So, I think all of those characteristics fall into what this team looks like under Sean Payton. And I think we've already seen that translated onto the field this offseason.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're talking about Sean Payton, it's that he has a vision for everything. And whether that's some sort of small detail in terms of how practice is run, or how the facility is set up, if it's something bigger in terms of lowering the number of penalties or being really good in situational football or having everybody kind of buy into a common goal of being better on special teams, all of those things lead into a culture. He's talked a lot about how last season a lot of different people had dirt on their hands for the season that the Broncos had. They're trying to fix that, and a big reason why we think that that's possible is because Sean Payton has paid attention to every single little detail. Nothing is too small for him to overlook.
And at practice, throughout OTAs and minicamp, we saw that the tempo was a lot faster, higher. We heard a lot of the players talk about how educational Sean is out on the field. He explains to them why they're doing what they're doing, how exactly he wants it, and that translates throughout the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a team that is going to understand why they are doing certain things. During mandatory minicamp, this team paused several times to talk about situations, to talk through things that they'd seen on film and then take into the football field. And you just feel like this is a team that's going to be better prepared than they were a year ago. Last season, 2 one-point losses. You had a bunch of one-possession losses. Went 1-9, I believe, at one stretch. And you saw the little details tear them apart. With Sean Payton, you don't expect for them to lose games like that. You expect them to be prepared and be able to take that next step.
And we've seen players really buy into that attention to detail and that messaging. Phil, Steve, send it back to you.
Steve, the other thing that Sean has brought to the Broncos are some sayings, posters up around the facility. What do you think about some of the ways that he's trying to set the tone with the team?
Yeah, I really like it. All the messages are positive. They have a deeper meaning than when you first look at them. They also have a sign that says "Go West," and it's the more difficult route to take. And when you hear him explain it, he explains it with so much passion that he's really thought about this. He also had the kickers kick a 9-yard field goal in honor of Jim Turner, the Ring of Fame kicker. So he moves with purpose, and it really inspires a lot of people. I know it inspires me.
Yeah, and the other day during mandatory minicamp out there, as the team was winding down the offseason program, John Elway was out there, Carl Mecklenburg was out there. He talks about those guys like they're part of our history. He's already a Denver Bronco already.
Yeah, and you saw that when he was at the Nuggets game.
Yeah.
He's been just about all of the games in the championship game and some of the playoff games. He's bought in. He's Colorado now, and I think that's going to make the fandom just that much greater for the Broncos, knowing that he supports all of the great teams here, and he has such a big voice and a message that is very deep.
We'll see a lot more about what Sean Payton's all about, and we'll get a sense right when training camp starts here in a couple of weeks. All right, that's going to do it for us. For Eric Dalala and Sidney Jones, the Hall of Famer Steve Atwater, I am Phil Milani. This has been Countdown to Canton.